Welcome to Bonnie's Beat. I'm your host, Bonnie Squires. We're coming to you from the Radnor Studio 21 headquarters in beautiful downtown Wayne. We like to showcase people who are doing something interesting in the community, whether it's arts and culture, academia, inventions, whatever. But one of the favorite things that happens all year that brings international attention to our region is the Philadelphia Flower Show, put on by the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. And we're very fortunate that we attracted Alan Jaffe, who is the Senior Director of Communications for the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, PHS, and knows everything there is to know about the upcoming flower show. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Bonnie.
Good to see you.
Pleasure to be here today.
It's funny because with the snow still lingering, I always think of going to the flower show on Penn's campus in the old Civic Center, and I can picture 2 feet of snow, and then you'd go down the escalator and you'd be overwhelmed by the perfume of all the flowers. We lost that when we moved to the convention center, but we gained
that's
on it.
that's you know, for a certain generation, a few generations. That's the predominant memory of the flower show. Is
He's
that
pointing out that I'm
overwhelming
old
smell.
enough to remember is what he's doing.
You and I was talking about myself and our parents who remember coming down the escalators and that wonderful, overwhelming view of the show,
view,
and then the
colors.
scent of the flowers as you came down. We can't reproduce that really
Right.
in the new building, but we think it's still a fantastic experience to come when you walk through those doors. You walk into the entrance garden and you are just hit with this beautiful sight, all this color after going through at least a couple of months of some winter, some cold weather, and the gray and white snow all over the Philadelphia
Or
region.
some places it's yellow. The dogs have done their business.
But we have even brighter colors than that when you come to the flower show. Yeah.
Well, this year's theme is very interesting. Explore America. Can we put that up? There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Explore America. 100 years of the National Park Service. Now, I got to talk to Sam Lemhenny recently, who is the designer of the show.
He's the chief of shows and events. He's a major designer. He's the coordinator. He's has many roles in overseeing the flower show.
Mr. Talent.
Very, very talented, yes.
And a nice guy,
Very
too.
organized too. Yeah.
But Sam Lemhenny told me, I said, how'd you come up with this theme? And he said, the National Park Service had contacted the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society saying, we'd like to have an exhibit. And then Sam said, all of you kicked it around and said, what a great idea. We'll make that the theme for the entire show.
Yeah.
Now, explain what's going to happen with the major exhibits.
Well, each of the major exhibits in the show is using one of the national parks or one of the historic sites or one of the cultural sites as inspiration for their exhibit. So you're going to find exhibits that are taking off on what you would find and the feeling that you get when you walk into, say, Acadia in Maine, or the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia,
Or Lincoln's Boyhood
Boyhood Home.
Because Karen Carden, who's a Mainliner, who's my best friend's niece, and who runs a horticultural academy at Lincoln High School, she had an easy task this year. Lincoln's Boyhood Home is under the aegis of the National Park Service.
Right.
So that's what she'll do.
A lot of people don't realize the diversity of the national park system. We think of the grand landscapes, the Grand Tetons, Yosemite,
The Grand Canyon.
the Grand Canyon, but they
Yosemite.
also oversee all of these very important sites that really tell the story of America, and also all those sites that refer to the many diverse elements of our culture here in the United States. So you're talking about, as you say, Lincoln Boyhood Home, but also sites that pay tribute to the artists of Edgar Allan Poe in Philadelphia. We have a wonderful site. Great figures representing the Polish culture, the Chinese culture, the Jewish culture, the civil rights movement. So you've got a great many different kinds of elements in the national park system, and you're going to find them reflected throughout the flower show.
One of my favorite designers, the E.P. Henry Company, They picked Liberty Island, the Statue of Liberty.
E.P. Henry, unfortunately, is not going to be at the show this year.
Ooh.
E.P. Henry, for the first time in a number of years, is not able to participate. We have a different sponsor who's taking care of the hardscaping for the show, the Bellegarde Company, that is going to be providing the hardscaping for our exhibitors this year.
Oh, okay. Oh, they will be missed because they always have lots of shiny awards and plates and cups and things.
Yeah, they've always done terrific designs.
Sorry about that. But Stony Bank is going to do Yellowstone.
Yep, Stony Bank Nurseries. These folks have been exhibiting in the show for I think 35 years now, winning
Big
Best in
winners.
Show awards.
Big winners.
Fantastic exhibits every year.
One of my favorites is Michael Petrie. He's
Petrie,
so unusual.
Yeah.
He's so inventive.
One of the most artistic exhibitors in the show.
Yes.
Always a very, very creative approach to everything that he does. Very singular vision for how he wants his exhibit to be presented. Very, very, very admired by all the exhibitors. Yeah.
He picked Olympic National Park. I'm not sure what that is or where that is.
Olympic is in the state of Washington, so
figured.
a very beautiful, wild, very dramatic landscape. So we'll see how that's interpreted by a very artistic exhibitor who I'm sure will capture the drama of that beautiful landscape.
I'm very happy that your graphic designer picked all these gorgeous colors and flowers and things, because when you tell people national parks, they think of the Grand Canyon, but they think of stone and water. Yeah. They don't realize how much foliage there is, what's in the way of flowers. Somebody picked something in Hawaii. Oh,
Hawaii
Waldor
volcanoes.
orchids.
Yeah.
The Hawaii Volcanoes National Park.
Yeah, you have to realize that the American landscape is very, very different depending on what part of the country you're visiting. So yeah, as you say, in Hawaii, you've got very exotic plants, lots of orchids. Waldor is an expert in orchids.
Yes.
This is a company that has collected and bred orchids of species from all over the world, really, and they have a very, very good sense of what you find in the Hawaiian Islands and the beautiful flowers there. But we're also talking about the wonderful wildflowers that you find in meadows in many of the different national parks. Everybody thinks of redwood trees, of course, and redwoods will be represented at the show in a number of different ways.
Now, wait a minute.
Yep.
A few years ago, when the theme was Springtime in Paris, there was a gargantuan bottom portion of the Eiffel Tower. Mm-hmm. It was humongous. It was fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Sort of went up into the rafters
yes,
of the convention
but
center.
it was like the bottom 1/20th of the size. How are you going to get a redwood tree into the convention center?
Through the magic of PHS and our exhibitors, we're going to emulate redwood trees. So this year, when you walk into the convention center and into the exhibition halls, you're going to walk into what we call Big Timber Lodge. That's going to be our entrance garden. It's a representation of the traditional park architecture. You know that when you get to a national park, the first thing you do is you go to one of the lodges. You may be staying there. You may be going there for information. You have to use the resources there. In our Big Timber Lodge, you're going there sort of to get your bearings. You're going to walk in there and you're going to see the base of the trunks of redwood trees that are going up into the rafters, but you're also going to see beautiful species of evergreens that you find in the American palette, beautiful wildflowers, all different kinds of flowers that you find in different elements throughout the country. You're also going to be immersed in the landscapes of the national park system through these giant projection screens that are going to be making up the roof of the Timber Lodge. And those screens are going to come to life with imagery from hundreds of different parks that will be flashing across the screens. You're going to hear the distant sound first of thundering bison, and they'll get louder and louder. You'll hear other sounds that you hear in the wild, and we'll actually be transporting people just through this fantastic imagery and sound to different sites there in the Big Timber Lodge, and that's a great place to start your adventure.
You're talking about the technology. The brand new CEO, what's his title, Matt Rader?
Our new president, he's our president.
The new president. Mm-hmm. Okay. He'll have to give a thank you to Drew Becker for bringing technology into the Philadelphia Flower Show.
Yeah. Drew, who is our past president, just left back in the spring, brought a lot of creative ideas. Sam, of course, helped those ideas evolve into the reality of what people find. We started using this company based in Philadelphia called Clip. They are fantastic innovators in computer projections. They're able to project all kinds of imagery on three-dimensional surfaces. So they helped produce the wave when you came to the Hawaiian show and you felt like you were underwater.
Right.
They did that underwater projection. At the British show, they did the fantastic clip that appeared on the face of Big Ben.
Oh,
so
yes.
You felt like you went inside the Big Ben Tower, and there was this wonderful musical video. They did the fantastic montage last year for the Celebrate the Movies theme, where they took clips of all different movies,
wonderful.
and you saw a terrific montage of dancing and kissing on the screen, and people answering telephones from different movies and all these different stars. Clip, it's a very, very creative group. So they're creating these beautiful videos and vignettes for the screens. They'll have a lot of fun with it too. So they'll be occasionally you'll see a park ranger appear on the screen, and they'll do some very interesting animations and different things.
What's the name of the bear that wears the park ranger hat?
Well, that's Smokey Bear that you're
Smokey
thinking
the
of,
Bear.
and you have to correct you, because Smokey Bear is not with the National Park System.
He's not?
He's with the Forest Service. And so that Smokey's job is to warn people not to cause fires, and he's related to the Fire Service. The mascot of the National Park Service is Buddy the Bison. And so,
Bison.
you know that buffalo
sorry,
and bison are very, very important animals in the wildlife and on the American landscape. Maybe one of the great symbols. And actually, they do have the bison symbol on their shield, on the shield that you see when you look at the National Park Service symbols. And Buddy will be visiting the show. Buddy is a mascot.
Oh, okay.
We will not be walking a bison through the show this year, but Buddy will be there on the last day of the show, the family day, which we're calling the Flower Show Jamboree, and we'll have Buddy and some other special guests at the show.
Are you going to have Ted Turner? Because I remember when he opened his buffalo meat restaurant on Broad Street, and I tasted it, and it was pretty good.
We will not have Ted. We will have a variety of foods that are themed to the national parks. Aramark and the caterer at the convention center is doing some very interesting things with food this year. When you first walk in and you're in the Big Timber Lodge, you're going to be able to find the trail mix bar, so you can fuel up when you first arrive, and this will help you get across. You do a lot of walking at the show, so you have the trail mix bar. But we'll have other restaurants that celebrate glamping.
What's glamping?
Glamping is the combination of glamour and camping. So you have sort of luxury camping available
glamping.
in different parts of the country
love
now.
It. Glamping.
So there'll be a restaurant that is a representative of glamping. You'll be able to get some nice Stella Artois beer and a nice sandwich, a little bit higher class than usual roughing it when you're going camping. We'll have bison burgers. We'll have some fantastic chicken restaurants. So there'll be a lot of terrific choices there in the convention center for people to find during the show.
You brought up food. I was lucky enough to be one of the privileged few, and there were very few, invited to the tasting party for the preview of the gala. The gala is especially this year, since unfortunately that horrible Jonas snowstorm forced the cancellation, it still hurts my heart to say that, of the Academy Ball.
Yeah.
But now all eyes will be trained on the preview gala Friday night, March 4th, at the Convention Center.
Our 50th anniversary this year, our golden anniversary.
The 50th anniversary of the preview party, but of the flower show is the 159th, I think it is?
It's older than that. The first show was 1829, so I believe we're working on our
159 was the Academy of Music.
188th year, I believe now. So for the flower show, we've been doing it since 1829, so it's 2016, so 9, it's 187th year.
187th year.
There were some years, it's not consecutive, there were some years due to war and depression that the flower show did not take place, but we are the longest running show, the largest indoor flower show in the world. The the premier horticultural event in the United States.
And when you go to the members preview, you will see camera crews from Japan, from Finland, from France, from China, from all around the globe. I mean, it's not just, certainly isn't just a Philadelphia or Pennsylvania event, certainly isn't just an American event. They come from all around the world.
Yeah.
This is a big, big, big deal. And
Very
the
much so.
economic impact on the city of Philadelphia, you see that every hotel, every restaurant is tied into the flower show. Do you make those arrangements?
Yeah, I make all of those arrangements myself. Well, we help people with accommodations. We have some really terrific hotel partners, including this year the Logan Hotel, which just moved into the Parkway.
I read about it. I don't know where it is.
They're where the Fairmount used to be. I'm sorry, the Four Seasons used to be. The Four Seasons Hotel.
That's the Logan. Okay.
Four Seasons is moving into a different building, and the Logan is one of the newest arrivals in Philadelphia. The Logan, named after James Logan, a great botanist in the Philadelphia area, is donating 10% of their room fees from December 31st through March 31st to the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society to show their commitment to the greening of the Philadelphia region.
Is that a national chain, the Logan Hotels? Because I wasn't familiar with the name before
I should know that, but
it.
I'm sure that they are affiliated with a chain, but I'm not sure which one.
Well, you have your homework assignment, Alan.
Yeah, thank you. I'll have that.
It's probably
answer
the
for you
one
next
thing
time.
I asked him that he didn't know. He knows everything else.
I'm sure
but
that
let's
they are
go back to the
affiliated with a chain.
preview tasting, Al. First of all, they lucked out. I don't know how. You ask a busy person to do something. Leslie Ann Miller, Esquire, a prominent mainliner. She was the first woman president of the State Bar Association, and she was the first woman general counsel to the state of Pennsylvania under Governor Rendell. She was the president of the Kimmel Center that brought it online and got all the contracts signed and reigned supreme for the fabulous opening of the Kimmel Center. She's chairing the entire flower show. She's amazing. And her husband's no slouch either. Her husband, Richard Worley, is only the president of the board of the Philadelphia Orchestra. He brought them out of bankruptcy. He saved the Philadelphia Orchestra for us. But Leslie she had a preview tasting party, preview of the gala. And the foods that were there were wonderful. I mean, and they did have something that was from bison. They did have that.
Yeah, it's very good meat. Yeah.
But
it's
the
wonderful
best
meatballs.
They had all kinds of
They
good
had a nice brisket. Yeah, it was very good.
Brisket, they had all kinds of good stuff. But they had pasta, and they were cooking whatever you wanted, and you were allowed to vote for what you liked the best. But the dessert you'd have to vote on, because it's the National Park Service. Everybody knows what you eat at a campfire. You roast marshmallows, but not just marshmallows. They had green apple marshmallows, blood orange, black cherry, tangerine, and banana flavored marshmallows. I picked the banana. And then you dipped it in boiling hot fudge. And then you dipped it in toasted pistachios, coconut, sprinkles, crushed Oreos, crushed ginger snap, pretzel pieces, everything. I went twice to that. I put 3 of my wooden coins that I voted 3 times for the marshmallows. I voted 3 times also for the profiteroles that were unbelievable. That wasn't a dessert. That was, I forget whether it was the salmon profiteroles. Whatever they were just glorious. I think they were the duck profiteroles. They were with a little caramel on the top.
Yeah, the menu at the preview party is going to be wonderful this year. I mean, it's going to be really wonderful dishes, great hors d'oeuvres, small plates, fantastic desserts, some really interesting cocktails. And then you get to eat all these great foods while wandering around in the most beautiful setting you could possibly find for a party.
And you get to see all the exhibits. That's the best thing, because 250,000 people come through in 8 days. So it's hard to focus on, it's hard to get close enough to see the miniature rooms. That's my favorite thing. The little, how people where they get this stuff to put in the miniature rooms, I don't know. It's just astonishing
They're
the
very
things that they
creative,
have.
yeah.
So for many years, I would send away for the list of categories, and every year I said, this year I'm going to enter. Well, I never had the courage. I never did.
There's lots of different ways to participate in the show. I'm glad you brought that up. You can do it by becoming, a member of a garden club and work on one of the, the larger exhibits in the design gallery. But you can also just take one of your favorite plants that you've been raising on your windowsill or outside in the garden and enter it in the horticourt. And it's not all that difficult to do.
The Hamilton horticourt.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Dodo Hamilton, or Dorrance is her name. She's been the patron saint of the flower show and the Horticultural Society, I don't know, 50 years, 60 years.
Great supporter, a very passionate gardener herself.
Wonderful. Yeah. And she used to win all the first prize ribbons.
She has won over 1,000 ribbons at the flower show. Yeah,
but fortunately for ordinary people, last year she decided not to enter, just to let other people enter.
She's no longer competing. She still sometimes exhibits, and she will probably continue to exhibit some of her plants from her greenhouses. She has fantastic topiaries, fantastic species of many specimens of very many plants.
I was out there last year.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what she has in her greenhouses. Just incredible.
Yeah, but she's also our one of the honorary co-chairs of the preview party this year, along with Mrs. Wolf, the First Lady of Pennsylvania.
Wolf. Governor Tom Wolf's wife, Frances, who's fabulous lady. She's co-chairing with Dodo Hamilton. That's quite a power couple.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Plus, we have Tom Woodward, who is the chair of the party this year. Tom is the market president of Bank of America.
Bank of America, my bank. Yes.
Very, very nice guy. Great supporter of PHS. Bank of America has been a terrific sponsor.
And Subaru.
Along with Subaru.
How long has Subaru been a sponsor of the flower show?
Subaru's been a sponsor, I think this might be the 12th year now. And they are the premier sponsor, and then Bank of America is the exclusive sponsor. Two fantastic supporters of PHS programs, of the show itself. It's very important for everybody to understand that the flower show is our major fundraiser for PHS.
And it costs a fortune to put on, right?
It's a very big operation. It involves quite a lot of material, a lot of manpower.
How many volunteers?
We have about 3,500 volunteers. It's an army of volunteers.
3,500 volunteers.
Yeah.
Herb Clark used to be the chief volunteer, the weatherman, the television weatherman. What a wonderful guy. Yeah. Is he still involved at all?
No.
He may not be well enough to. It's a shame.
Herb hasn't been for a few years.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people that have been doing it for decades, from the planning, involved in the committees to figure out how to make things work through the entire execution of the show. They're there welcoming people when they first walk in. You see the people in the little pinnies, the little aprons, welcoming you, giving you materials, telling you where to go.
And I have to give a shout out to my organization, the Philadelphia Public Relations Association, which has volunteers manning the check-in for the media. That's important.
Very important to me especially.
Yes.
We get a lot of visitors, as you said, from around the world, from around the country, throughout the show. They all need help, and so we put out a call to the professionals in the public relations industry in this region, and they respond very, very enthusiastically to come and help us out. Of course, they also get to see the show, which is a great benefit of coming as a volunteer.
Where can people buy tickets if they don't want to go online? Let's put that up again, Julia. Theflowershow.com on your computer, 215-988-8800. Is that your direct line, Alan?
It's not my direct line. I won't give that out right now. But if you need to reach me, if you call that number, you can find me.
You can ask for Alan.
I'm very accessible. Jaffe. Yes, you can buy tickets online. It's a great way to do it. You'll save a few dollars than if you wait till you get to the box office. But you can buy tickets in advance in a number of different outlets.
And Bank of America, right?
I think you can get them through Bank of America, but also at places like Whole Foods and Wegmans, and many different department stores and many other locations now. And if you go to the website, you can see all the different places where you can find it now. I'm sure you can find a business near you where you can easily find a ticket to the show.
I don't know if we can see this gorgeous pin that's newly minted that Alan, we only had one of them.
They were just distributed to us today.
Isn't that
you can get your
fabulous?
official pin when you come to the show. There's always great shopping. There's great souvenirs.
I have a whole cabinet filled with mugs that have the different flower show, emblems on them.
Great.
And I always buy an apron, and I always buy a T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, this year you'll also be able to get a little teddy bear. We're gonna start. We decided a little series of teddy bears that are in line with the flower show theme each year. So of course this little teddy,
clever.
this little teddy will have his little ranger uniform on, and we think these will be very popular with the kids and with the adults as well.
Absolutely.
They're very cute.
Absolutely.
Beautiful silk scarf. We just saw the design of that today. The official scarf is ready.
We have
great
to mention
t-shirts.
one of your buddies, two of your buddies, Lisa Stefano, who's fabulous, and Jimmy Owens, who's fabulous. Anybody else we should mention?
Well,
Marion?
there's lots of people. My partner, communication specialist, Marion McParland. So those of you out there in the media world who need to reach us, you can either ask for me or ask for Marion. We'll be glad to make sure that you get your press tickets, and we'll give you all the help you need for your interviews. Bonnie, I'm sure we'll be hearing from you quite a bit, and we're looking forward to that. You mentioned Lisa Stefano, our great marketing chief.
She's amazing.
We've got Jimmy Owens, who is in charge of sponsorship and business development, who does a terrific job with
And thank
corporate
heavens,
sponsors.
Jimmy, who was brought down from New York by Drew Becker, but he stayed when Drew had to relocate to the West Coast. So you lucked out with that.
Yeah, Jimmy's very, very talented, terrific personality, a musician. We have a little band called the Pop-Ups.
I didn't know that.
We've got the house band.
Do you?
Not me. I've never been musical enough myself. I love music, always tried, but couldn't do it. But Jimmy and a group of other people on staff are all very, very talented musicians.
Are they going to perform
I
at
would
gala?
think that they won't be at the gala, but I'm pretty sure that you'll see them in the base camp. We'll have a pop-up beer garden also. There'll be a stage there. We didn't talk about some of the fantastic activities that are going to be happening at the show, great events. But the pop-ups, I'm sure, will be performing live music there.
One of the most popular events at the show is when they have flower arrangers come in. I mean, all the seats are always taken, and people just faint for what they do. It's like magic what they do with a vase and a handful of flowers.
It's sort of our version of reality TV.
Yes.
It's like our version of the Iron Chef, only we do it with flowers and stems and vases. It's the designer studio you're talking about, and we bring in some of the professional designers, the exhibitors at the show. They're all given the same materials to work with, and then a certain amount of time to create an arrangement, and then the audience votes for the winner. And it's very fun. It's a lot of fun. It gets very rowdy. The audience gets very excited watching the competition.
I'm sure Mayor Jim Kenney is going to be very prominent at the gala and at some other, because you always have visiting guests during the course of the show, and there's like a gals' night out. Sometimes people get married at the flower show.
There's a number of different things that we've got some new elements this year. The opening day, we're having what we're calling the Cabin Fever Country Hoedown, right? It's about the national parks, right? So and people have cabin fever by the time they're getting around to the first week of March. So you can come, wear your cowboy boots, go back to the base camp, the area in the Grand Hall. We're calling base camp this year, and we'll have some sort of line dancing lessons.
I love it.
And some live performances, and people will have a fantastic time that opening day. We're going to have a celebration of International Women's Day. So there'll be some interesting guests that day. The National Park Service is going to be bringing in some very interesting personalities, including one of the original Rosie the Riveters. We're probably going to do a Skype interview in the Find Your Park Pavilion, where the National Park Service will be taking people around the country with live park rangers to do presentations, but also Skype to different parks in all the corners of the country. So we'll be celebrating Women's Day. We're going to have Flowers After Hours, and this is for the millennial generation, where people will be able to, it's sort of an after hours party. People will be able to come, get some very interesting cocktails, wander around the show. We'll have some exciting musical entertainment. We'll have we talked about the jamboree on the last day for families. So there'll be a teddy bear tea.
And you have to people should understand that you can bring somebody who's disabled, because you can always have a wheelchair or a scooter
Correct.
or something,
Yes.
and you can really get around
Yes,
that way.
the convention center provides
Yes.
chairs and other equipment, for people to get access around the
Absolutely.
show.
But you also have to continue selling. What is it that the Pennsylvania Dutch make it's a baked thing and you put powdered sugar on it? I can't remember what they're called
Funnel
now.
cakes.
Funnel cakes.
I haven't seen that on the menu yet, but it's a
No.
nice idea. Yeah.
Well, it's usually was a booth around the
yeah,
perimeter.
yeah, that's right. That's
So,
right. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, well, our guest today has been Alan Jaffe, the Senior Director of Communications for the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, the Philadelphia Flower Show. Do not miss it. And also, Channel 6 always does a great job.
They do a terrific preview of the show.
Preview of the show.
It'll be airing on Saturday night, the 5th,
Yes.
on opening night. Yep.
But if you can get to the gala, that's, for me, that's the amazing
It's
thing.
a wonderful experience.
And then if you come on members preview, you get a better view of the show because you don't have to fight off 250,000 people.
It's a great way to come to the show, become a member of PHS. You save a lot of money. You get all the benefits of membership. Our Grow magazine. You get discounts at garden centers around the region, and you get discounts to all the trips that we bring people on all throughout the year.
And we didn't even talk about what you do, for the city and all the other benefits.
Yeah, it's important to keep in mind that every ticket that you buy is helping to green the community, to change people's lives. You have a great impact on communities throughout the Philadelphia region, to help us plant trees, to grow community gardens, and to help feed people who don't have access to healthy food. We have a major land care program that transforms vacant lots into sort of a green, beautiful green space in neighborhoods all over the city. So,
But you don't
a lot
get
of
to
important
sleep the
work.
week of Flower Show, I'm assuming.
I don't sleep for a couple of weeks around
Yes, right.
Flower Show time. It's a very intense, very exhaustive experience, but one of the best times you can have any place.
Absolutely. Well, I think our time is up, but we hope to see everybody at the Philadelphia Flower Show. It runs from the preview March 4th, official opening March 5th through the 13th. Don't miss it. You will kick yourself if you miss it. And we'll see everybody next week.